October 18th to order, and I'd like to ask Councilmember Mike Smith, will you please lead us in the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Next thing is the minutes. To consider the approval of the minutes of the October 4th, 2012 council meeting. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
It's been moved by Deputy Mayor Denning, second by Mr. Schock. Is there any discussion on the motion? Any corrections? If not, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion's carried. Next thing is acceptance of written citizens' petitions. If you'd like to speak to council, please fill out a form in the back of the room and hand it up one side or the other of the diocese, and we will talk about it when we get to that point of the meeting. Next thing on the agenda, City Manager's report. Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You have my report included in your packet as well as supplementals from staff. We'll be more than happy to answer any questions that you may have. And as always, you can expect my report via email tomorrow.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Any discussion for the manager's report?
This is
Mr. Smith.
Excuse me, yes. This is in reference to the manager's report. I did have a question about Hank's Bar. How close are we to getting that knocked down?
Well, you're taking away item 13 of my report for tomorrow, sir.
Oh.
But since you asked, why leave you in suspense? We have finally been able to circle the wagons between the owner's insurance company, and the state fire marshal's office. So if it has not arrived, it will arrive shortly. The surety deposit for demolition, they have pulled a permit from the county to raise the building. So it should just be another week or so before they actually have equipment on site to start knocking that thing down.
We're talking about.
So,
Great.
I have that.
yes.
That's a question. Thank you.
Okay. And real quick, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Mr. Smith.
Just like to commend our officers, 16 OVI arrests, 19 drug-related arrests. I think that's great.
And they did it all with keeping our overtime to a minimum.
Yes, they did.
So we appreciate that very much from all the departments. Any more, Mr. Smith? Anything else? Okay. Anything else from Mr. Deputy Mayor Denning?
How long is the iron truck going to take?
The funds have been deposited to escrow, so the dollars have been made available from the state to purchase. We are currently in the process of finalizing management agreement terms with the Eintracht Club for once the club becomes the city's to own and how they're going to operate and maintain that. So those negotiations are in process.
Okay, so
timeline?
I do not, sir.
Are they pretty serious?
The best way, or in short, what had happened was the city had submitted to the state for approval several different documents, one which was the initial lease agreement. And those were the terms and conditions that were negotiated with Eintracht. The state came back and asked us to make some changes to that agreement. The Eintracht had to agree to those. They did. We sent it back to the state again for approval, and the second time the state sent it back and said, no, we want something different. So now on the third time, the Eintracht Society hired an attorney to help them negotiate terms and conditions on their behalf, simply because they were not comfortable and confident that the terms they were going to continue to agree to were going to be rejected or accepted, depending upon how you want to look at it.
okay. One other thing, I know that we're getting Harston Valley done next year, maybe. Is there any way that we could get it, I don't know, shaved off or something? Because when I go through there,
That turn lane especially.
I never know which direction my motorcycle's going to go. Well, I don't know. I mean, it really humps up high in the middle, especially at the intersection area.
It is on ice, Carl.
Right, and cars have some problem.
There are some integrity issues that occur once you start grinding those and your ability to maintain them. I think probably Mr. Miller can comment a little better than I. best we can to try and mitigate those asphalt pushes where we can, but unfortunately, in some instances, it's just not possible for us to be able to do that and continue to hold the road together. I don't know, Mr. Miller, if you can provide a more detailed response.
That's an excellent statement. There are some issues with that. Every year, believe it or not, since I have been here, we've knocked down the humps. We have not done that. We have not ground them down, but we'll be doing that, trying to seal it up, because our plow trucks have the same issues that you have with motor vehicles so it's important that, we will, before winter hit those. I don't know how well they're gonna be, knocked down, to be honest with you, because we've done this just about every year. And
Yeah, there's not a whole lot left to knock
well,
down.
that's part of the issue. That's part of the issue.
Okay, and I understand that. I'm just somewhat concerned that if I'm having that issue going through there every day, I'm sure everybody else that goes through there is, and the school buses, and it can be a safety problem, and I'm just concerned.
Our truck drivers, I don't want them to be in traction after they go and
Right.
that area. So it's,
Yeah.
but we try to every year, and it just every year gets to be more of a challenge.
Okay,
Ms.
thank you.
Campbell?
Yeah, is there a way you can like put up a sign, say, hey, slow down, rough road ahead, or something to let them know that there's, like you said, the truck's going through there, they could hit that and
If the police chief authorizes us to do that, since he's the chief enforcement for traffic law, we
just
can
temporarily until you get fixed.
we can put something up like that.
We can take a look at
Okay.
And laying any asphalt, temporary?
That's,
What
I'm sorry.
Listen, man, that's why I was pushing so hard to go.
Mostly at the intersection, especially with Sharon.
That's an excellent thought, Mayor. You would think filling in the valleys and that would help, but what happens, it pushes it even more, because you got these big, huge trucks, they're stopping right at the intersection, and that's part of the reason you've got the wave action there, is that they're trying to stop right where everyone's trying to turn, and as a consequence, but again, we'll try to, before winter sets in, we will address that.
So even though it looks like a solid, it's somewhat fluid.
It's,
Right.
yeah.
Technically, asphalt is a liquid.
Okay,
Or maybe you could have somebody on the news say something about, go with caution through there until it can be repaired in the spring.
We can see what we can do to make
Or
more
in the
folks aware.
put it in the newsletter, you know.
And we haven't heard anything on Burkhardt yet?
No, the actual hearing before OPWC District 4 committee is next week, next Wednesday. So I will be there, I believe Engineer Hoyne and other representatives from LJB will be there to answer any questions that the integration committee has about our project.
But they won't be making the decision yet.
No, sir, they make a ranking based on the projects that are submitted to them, and then that ranking goes to Columbus for review, and Columbus has the final say.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions or remarks for the city manager? Seeing none. Okay, the next agenda item is public comment on agenda items. Again, if you want to comment on any agenda items or items that are not on the agenda, please bring forth the paperwork. Next thing is the unfinished business. First one is ordinance number 120498. Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This ordinance is to amend the personnel policy manuals regarding the health insurance benefit provided to employees to account for our change to a health savings account format in 2013.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Is there a motion?
so moved. Second.
Been moved by Deputy Mayor Denning, second by Mr. Schott. Could the clerk please read the title, the ordinance by title only?
Ordinance number 12-0-498, an ordinance amending the personnel policies manual of the city of Riverside, Ohio.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Is there any discussion on the motion or questions by members of council? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, the same sign. Motion's carried. Next is ordinance number 120500. Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Pursuant to discussion with
Or
council.
this one.
Oh, did I miss one? I'm so
Yeah.
sorry.
499.
I'm so sorry. Okay. Next ordinance is ordinance number 120499. Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This ordinance is to make, amendments to the table of organization for the city of Riverside as previously discussed with council.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Is there a motion? At this time, I'll entertain a motion for approval of the first reading of the ordinance.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved by Deputy Mayor Denning, second by Mr. Schott. The city charter requires the first reading of the ordinance be read aloud in its entirety prior to council's vote for adoption. Madam Clerk, would you please read the ordinance in its entirety?
Ordinance number 12-0-499. An ordinance to approve employee position titles, number of positions, and pay ranges, and to repeal ordinance 110483 adopted December 29th, 2011. Whereas the city manager has undertaken a review of the present organizational structure of the city of Riverside, including position titles, number of positions, and pay ranges. And whereas the city manager has made recommendations for the adopting of changes thereto, now therefore be it ordained by the council of the city of Riverside, state of Ohio, section 1, that the comprehensive and number of officials and employees of the city of Riverside be fixed as per the attached Exhibit A, and the positions listed in Exhibit A are hereby established in respect to position, title, authorized number, and pay range. Section 2, that ordinance number 11-0-483 passed December 29th, 2011, and all other ordinances in conflict with the provisions of this ordinance be and the same are hereby repealed. Section 3, that this ordinance shall take effect and be in full force at the earliest date permitted by law.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Is there any discussion from members of council? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, the same sign. Motion's carried. Now we'll move to ordinance number 120500. Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This ordinance is to provide for the replacement of changes to the Riverside codified ordinance.
This time I entertain a motion for approval of the first reading of the ordinance.
So moved. Second.
The move by Mr. Schock, second by Deputy Mayor Denning. The city requires that, this is the first reading.
Yes.
The first reading of the ordinance be read aloud in its entirety prior to council's vote for adoption. Madam Clerk, would you please read the ordinance?
Ordinance number 12-0-500. An ordinance to approve current replacement pages to the Riverside codified ordinances and declaring an emergency. Whereas certain provisions within the codified ordinances need to be amended to conform with current state law as required by the Ohio Constitution, and whereas various ordinances of a general and permanent nature have been passed by council and need to be included in the codified ordinances, and whereas the city has heretofore entered into a contract with the Walter H. Strain Company to prepare and publish such revision which is before council, now therefore be ordained by council of the city of Riverside, state of Ohio, as section 1, that the ordinances of the city of Riverside, Ohio, of a general and permanent nature as revised, recodified, rearranged, and consolidated into component codes, titles, chapters, and sections within the 2012 replacement pages to the codified ordinances are hereby approved and adopted. Section 2, that the sections and chapters are hereby added, amended, or repealed in order to comply with the current state law as set forth in Exhibit A. Section 3, that the complete text of the sections listed in Exhibit A are set forth in full in the current replacement pages to the codified ordinances which are attached to this ordinance as Exhibit B. The listing in Exhibit A of each new section by reference to its title shall constitute sufficient publication of new matter contained therein. Section 4, that this ordinance is hereby declared to be an emergency measure necessary for the preservation of the public peace, health, and safety of the municipality and its inhabitants for the reason that there exists an imperative necessity for the earliest publication and distribution of current replacement pages to the officials and residents of the municipality so as to facilitate administration, daily operation, and avoid practical and legal entanglements. Therefore, this ordinance shall go into immediate effect.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Is there any discussion from members of council?
Yes.
Mr. Schock.
Wait, hold it, I lost it. Oh, here we go. Section 3.5.0 3.2, the electronic wireless communication devices prohibited. Can we have a little explanation what that covers? Just say cell phones?
To be honest, sir, I don't have the detail in front of me. I couldn't answer that question.
Who can?
Give the replacement pages just to council.
Yeah, so I gotta look in there real quick. Because I stuck it in there.
So what was the question again?
Let me find it again, I should highlight it.
Traffic code?
335-032. You see, I didn't get this with my,
Probably an upgrade.
no, it's new, it's an addition.
My guess is it's the texting ban.
I think it's what it could be too, here it is. It's in here. No, it's in here. Yeah, 335. Wish I.
And this is for anyone under the age of 18
Yeah.
to use any type of wireless communication device while they are driving.
Here it is, yep, I got it.
None of it
This is the
explains.
state.
Yeah, wireless communication devices more for vehicle somebody in position or if you're outside of travel, as the person using it. Okay. I'm all for that.
You okay?
Yeah, oh yes. I just got this, so.
Okay, so let me ask, okay, so 330, you were asking about 333.11.
No, I was actually,
335.032.
032, then you got 333-111 texting while driving, that was self-explanatory. But the other part was the electronic wireless communication device.
That's where those are. As part of that same.
Should be for anybody.
So we are banning texting
Shouldn't that be for everybody?
in the state,
Yeah, that's a state law.
in the state of Ohio.
For those who are under
Okay, go
the
ahead.
age of 18,
What about everybody else?
driving while they have a learner's permit.
Right.
Okay, 333.11 doesn't say anything about that.
That's 335.032.
Well, I'm looking at 333.11, texting while driving prohibited. No person shall drive a motor vehicle on the street, and public, using a handheld electric wireless communications device to write, send, or read text-based communications. So that is, we are
That's
making
the
that
text.
law in, it's just texting though.
Shouldn't that be instead of just under 18?
No, that one does cover everybody.
This
Because
one is-
later it says, as used in this section, electronic wireless communication device includes any of the following: a wireless telephone, text messaging, personal digital assistant, a computer, including a laptop, any other substantially similar wireless device that is designed to communicate.
This is gonna sound really awkward. So in other words, our police officers gotta pull over to use your laptop? Oh,
Well, why don't you
Just a
get-
second, sit down.
I hope they do.
Why don't you get the computer to talk to you?
No.
This is a state law. All we're doing is saying we're gonna pass the
Okay.
same laws as the state passed. I don't know why we're having all this discussion.
That's
Well,
true.
we don't have to. Well,
Yeah.
we did, yeah, we
Yes,
do.
we did.
Yeah, I'll take it back.
Yes, we do, Mr. Shaw.
Say that into the camera, Mr. Shaw.
Yeah, I will. We don't have to, but we do to collect revenue. There you go. Did you say that? That's
I
exactly
just
what
want to
that
make
is,
sure
so
we
we
do what
collect
we do.
revenue instead of the state.
So, Mr. Manager, what I just read is in here, and that means that it's against the law to just text, or is it against the law to use a cell phone, computer, and all those things?
No, just texting.
Can't
You can talk on your wireless communication device, that is legal, but you cannot text, you cannot Skype, you cannot email, you cannot,
Okay, okay. wanted clarification on
You can't read the city's newsletter from its webpage.
it. I got it,
while you're
okay,
driving.
okay. All right, so we're having discussion from members of council. Any other discussion? Okay, all in favor, seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion has passed. So the council has been requested to approve both the first and second readings and consider final adoption. If that is your will at this time, I'll entertain a motion to suspend the rules that dictate the number of days between the first and second readings. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Schock, second by Deputy Mayor Denny. Is there any other discussion from members of council? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion's carried. Now we have the second reading and final adoption. At this time, I entertain a motion to approve the second reading by title only and final adoption of the ordinance. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved by Deputy Mayor Denning, second by Mr. Schock. At this time, would clerk read ordinance by title only?
Ordinance number 12-0-500, an ordinance to approve current replacement pages of the Riverside codified ordinances and declaring an emergency.
Are there any questions or discussion of members of council? Okay, seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion's carried. Thank you very much. Next ordinance is ordinance number 120501. No, 120501. Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This ordinance is to make supplemental appropriations to the current fiscal budget for fourth quarter.
Here.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved by Mr. Denning, second by Mr. Schock. City charter requires that the first reading of the ordinance be read aloud in its entirety prior to council's vote for adoption. Madam Clerk, would you please read the ordinance in its entirety?
Ordinance number 12-0-501, an ordinance to make supplemental appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the city of Riverside, state of Ohio for the period January 1 through December 31st, 2012. Whereas the finance director does report and recommend that certain supplemental appropriations be made, now therefore be ordained by the council of the city of Riverside, state of Ohio, section 1. That the council of the city of Riverside, state of Ohio, to provide for current and other expenditures for the period January 1 through December 31st, 2012, the following additional sums and amounts as listed in Exhibit A attached hereto and incorporated herein by this ordinance be and they are hereby set aside and appropriated as a supplemental appropriation to the existing appropriation. Section 2, that the finance director is hereby authorized to draw warrants on the city treasury for payments from the foregoing supplemental appropriation as authorized by legislation of council to make appropriations. Section 3, that this ordinance being an appropriation ordinance shall take effect immediately upon its passage as provided for in the charter.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Is there any other discussion from members of council? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion's carried. We've been asked to approve the second reading, so ask for the suspension of the rules, and the council has been requested to approve both the first and second reading and consider final adoption.
We see that. Said first and second read, oh, yeah, but it wasn't declared as
It
emergency.
doesn't declare it as an emergency, but they're still
Right,
asking.
but I see that, yeah, the first
Okay.
and second reading.
And so we still need to suspend the rules.
Yes.
Okay.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, then moved and seconded, then moved by Deputy Mayor Denning, second by Mr. Schock. Is there any discussion from members of council? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion's carried. So at this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve this second reading by title only. Is there a motion?
So moved.
It's been moved by Deputy Mayor Denning, second by Mr. Schock. Madam Clerk, would you please read the ordinance by title only?
Ordinance number 12-0-501, an ordinance to make supplemental appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the city of Riverside, state of Ohio, for the period January 1 through December 31st, 2012.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Are there any questions or discussion by members of council? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion's carried. Move into resolutions. First resolution is resolution number 12R1721. Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This resolution is to authorize a contract with the Regional Crime Lab for the 2013 fiscal year.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved by Mr. Schock, seconded by Deputy Mayor Denning. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion's carried. Next resolution is resolution number 12R1722. Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This resolution is to authorize the city to enter into agreement with the city of Dayton regarding wellfield protection.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Is there a motion? There's a motion by Mr. Schock.
Second.
Second by Mr. Smith. Is there any other discussion on the motion? Yes, Mr. Fulenkamp.
I'm gonna sound like a heretic, but I have to ask the question, and maybe this is the appropriate place, but really, what is the benefit of belonging to wellfield protection to the city of Riverside? And you don't have to answer that question.
Good question.
I've never.
We can give you your regular tree hugging answer.
The best way that I can describe the benefits to the program is that it provides a uniform way in which the city of Dayton can monitor the integrity of the aquifer, which provides drinking potable water to the region. Okay? That's the primary focus. Direct benefits have been in the past that they assist us in specifically monitoring content, potentially hazardous content within the well field. Additionally, they have provided us grant dollars in the past to assist us with remediating and removing properties that have previously held contaminants or have the potential for holding contaminants on the well field. And last but not least, it comes with a nice check of about $80,000 to help us as the city identify and monitor these types of locations to bring them in and follow up.
Okay, so my training requires me to ask, what are there any downsides to the city of Riverside to belonging to this?
Yeah, there are certain restrictions about what you can and cannot develop based on properties within the wellfield, regardless of their particular zoning district. So the trade-off is that there are certain portions of the city where the use of property is limited because of its proximity to the wellfield. So that is the detriment, if you will. We agree to mitigate hazardous materials in the wellfield.
So the third question, in balance, on the balance, if you look at the balance sheet, is the greater benefit, is there a greater benefit or greater detriment to our city? Or is it a wash?
I would say that it's probably a push. The benefits that we do receive, I would say that they are an equal replacement to the challenges we face. It's not that you cannot use the property within the well field, it's just there are challenges to what can be used on this property.
Thank you, I just had to ask those questions. Sure.
Well, I think it is a benefit to the city because we do get money from the Wellfield Protection Agency when we ask for it for various projects.
Especially if there's a spill. I assume we get help from them if there's a
Well,
huge spill.
there's a regional hazmat response team, and that is independent of
Oh, I'm sorry.
of the wellfield protection authority. But
My intent was just to educate myself. Anybody else?
I mean, it's a very innovative way to address a solution or to address a problem that would exist whether or not we participated in the organization or not. So for the challenge that we have, this is a nice advantage in the fact that it does help compensate those challenges. Thanks.
Okay. Any other questions? You had a motion? No. Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion's carried. Next resolution is resolution number 12R1723. Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This resolution is is to confirm the appointment of Tom Garrett as the city's next Director of Finance.
Who?
So is there a motion? There's a
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Smith, second by Mr. Fulenkamp. Is there any discussion on the motion?
Yeah, are you
Yes.
sure you want to do this, Tom?
Sure.
Is that a
Thank you
no
very
comment?
Okay, any other discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion's carried. Congratulations. And at this time, we would have a swearing in, or?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, if you would not mind administering the oath to Mr. Garrett, as he embarks on his
Be
new
happy to do that.
endeavor.
Glad we got some cameras here, that's good.
And also, you're gonna get a nameplate now too, out here with us.
Already? Oh, man, somebody's on the ball.
All right, I know why you hired her.
Okay, repeat after me, raise your right hand. I, state your name,
I, Thomas Garrett,
do hereby solemnly swear
do hereby solemnly swear
that in the position
that in the position
of Finance Director,
of Finance Director,
I will support the Constitution of the United States and the State of Ohio,
the Constitution of the United States and the state of Ohio,
and the Charter
and the Charter
and the ordinances
and the ordinances
of the City of Riverside,
of the city of Riverside,
that I will not be influenced
that I will not be influenced
by any consideration
by any consideration
except that of merit
except that of merit
and fitness
and fitness
in the appointment
in the appointment
or discharge
or discharge
of employees.
of employees,
That I will not make
that I will not make
or authorize
or authorize
the expenditure of public money
the expenditure of public money
otherwise than
otherwise than
for the adequate consideration
for the adequate consideration
and efficient service
and efficient service
to the City of Riverside.
to the city of Riverside,
That I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
in all respects,
in all respects,
discharge the duties of
discharge the duties of
the position of Finance Director
the position of Finance Director
for the City of Riverside,
for the city of Riverside,
County of Montgomery,
county of Montgomery,
State of Ohio,
state of Ohio,
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations. You want to shake everybody's hand?
Check out your name tag.
Changed already.
Shake hands. Shake
What do you
hands.
think?
Be congratulated by council.
Welcome aboard.
I bet you got that number in.
It's a long road.
Politicians.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Garrett. Appreciate it, and congratulations again.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes?
on the next two resolutions,
Mhm.
since they are similar except for the addresses, can we link those two together?
Is that the will of council?
Sure.
Okay. Is that a motion then? That-
Yes, it is.
Second.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 12R1724 and 12R1725. Mr. Manager, do you want to explain a little bit what we're doing here?
Sure, these two resolutions are to account for the request to acquire 9 parcels through the real estate acquisition program. Of those, the ones listed, those parcels that are listed in resolution 12R1724, these are through our conventional process. And so therefore, this process will compel these properties to go before a sheriff's sale on not one but 2 occasions, thereby allowing these folks to acquire them following those 2 actions. One is for an owner occupancy and the other 2 are vacant parcels to extend yards. The second resolution, which is resolution ending 1725, this is for the REIT process, an expedited REIT process, if you will, to actually send these to the Board of Review. So this will expedite the process. This is typically done because they have significantly high balances of outstanding taxes or assessments and actually preclude the properties from selling. So one of those is for an extension of an existing parcel, and then the other 3 are for owner
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Any questions, members of council? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion's carried. Next resolution is resolution number 12R1726. Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This resolution is to authorize an agreement between the county and the city regarding the county's application to the Local Government Innovation Fund to explore the possibility of a countywide stormwater utility system.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. It's been moved by Deputy Mayor Denning, second by Mr. Schott. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion's carried. Next resolution is resolution number 12R1727. Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This resolution is to authorize the submittal of an EDGE grant application regarding the rehabilitation of one of the Claypool buildings for the Consortium Clinical Services LLC.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Deputy Mayor Denning, second by Mr. Schott. Is there any discussion on the motion?
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Fulenkamp.
So I saw two numbers, I'm not sure which set of numbers are working. The second set, where they're asking for 25% of the cost, or the first set, 10%?
Yes, sir. The full project is $400 and some odd thousand. The application is for the $102,000 or $103,000. Yes, sir.
So that's what the application.
Yes, sir, that is correct.
And that's an increase of 20 jobs in our city.
Correct, that is correct, yes, sir, I believe that's the figure in the
That's
application.
right. Believe that's in there, so.
And that is one, I mean, but that's not the maximum number of jobs. You just can't-
Correct, the grant is to actually rehabilitate all 4 floors of this particular Claypool building. But the business which will occupy this particular Claypool building is only on the first floor. So that still leaves 3 other renovated floors available for professional office spaces.
So it's possible that the amount of taxable income will go from 1.3 million up to about 5.5.
If you assume that the wages were the same, yes.
20 per floor.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Very good, excellent. Any other discussion on the resolution? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion's carried. That ends all the resolutions and ordinances that we have for this evening. So we'll move into public comment of non-agenda items or agenda items. We did not receive any requests to have that. So we'll move into council members' comments. Are there any comments for the council members?
Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Fulenkamp.
Yes, the scariest day of the year is upon us. Election day. So I want to encourage everybody, I know we'll have another meeting before election day, but I want to make sure that everybody gets out and vote and encourages their neighbors to get out and vote.
They can vote early if they want.
Yes, and let's put it in Houston's face and get out there the 2 days of the weekend and vote. So,
Okay.
that's all I have.
Very good, thank you. And the other scariest day of the year is October 30th, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So for everyone out there, that is trick or treat night, Tuesday, I believe,
Yes, sir.
October 30th. So, yeah, October 30th, so please be aware and be at home and help our little beggars out. There you go. All right, any other discussion or questions? I just have a few. First of all, we had a fantastic spaghetti.
Council member comments, doesn't say mayor.
We had a fantastic spaghetti dinner, and many of us were there working hard, and I had to leave a little early, but all the tables, we had to put up extra tables, and they were full for most of the time. So our Historical Society definitely appreciates everyone's help on that. We also had a candidates night. It was well attended by the candidates, so, but by the candidates. We sure need more people to come to these things because there's a lot of work goes in it. And as many of you might remember, Mr. and Mrs. Reynolds, who was a council member for many years, working very hard on that from the Republican side. Ms. Edith Ann Mitchell from the Democratic Club worked very hard on that also. So we Had a good candidates night. We advertised it. Dayton Daily News, thank you for putting it in the paper. And we still, we had a good candidates night. We just need more people.
Just had 10 people, but 20 candidates, right?
It was a little more like 15 people. All right. Had the other things I represented you on council on is I went to the Air Force Ball. There were 25 nations there that represented there, and we all toasted to peace and goodwill. So it was quite a night. And went to the 40th anniversary of citywide development, which was a nice event. Also went to the snow and ice parade out at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, where they showed off their huge pieces of equipment that they clean the runways with. It was huge. It was a very nice event, something to see, and went very well. Also represented you in the Turkish-American grand opening of their facility in Dayton, and also attended the 20th anniversary of the Aviation Heritage Park down on Williams Street and West 3rd. If you haven't been to this particular place, they've been there for 20 years, and they have the original shop where the Wright brothers did their printing. It's fabulous. They have a bicycle shop there that the Wright brothers worked in. They have all kinds of things, and it only takes you about an hour to go through this thing. And they have an excellent movie that you watch that really puts a perspective on the human aspects of the Wright brothers. So if you have any relatives in town and they don't have 10 hours to go through the Air Force Museum, just take them downtown to 3rd and William Street. It's a federal park, and have them spend an hour and a half down there, and you will be enlightened by what the great heritage that our Wright brothers gave to our community. So the last thing is I had 7 weddings, and so they continue to move forward, and I continue to enjoy doing them. That's all I have. Is there any other council member comments? Seeing none, is there a move to adjourn?
The Lights On matinee for the J.C.'s Haunted House will be both Saturday and Sunday this weekend. I believe the K-9 unit Saturday will be there doing a demonstration with the white suit and the whole thing. That's always a very positive thing for everybody that's there. No, you have to be a sworn officer with everybody.
No, you don't.
Oh, well, man, maybe for $100 to the Cancer Society, maybe we get the manager in.
He doesn't need the suit.
That's $200.
$200 without the suit. But it's always a good time. The idea is that it shows younger children that it's more of a tour of the house with the lights on, no monsters. They charge $1 and a canned good, or $2, whichever you choose. And all the money and all the canned goods go to their Thanksgiving project, Thanksgiving food baskets for this community. So it's well worth going to. There's probably, I think last year it was 600 or 700 people went through the house in 4 hours. And we had requests from like Pee Wee football, mostly Pee Wee football, that we open it up also on Sunday, because they play football all day Saturday and they would like to go to it. So this is the first year in 27 years that we've had it open both days, but they're going to try that and see how it goes. Hopefully it'll be bigger and better for everybody, but it's really a neat thing. There'll be a lot of tables for companies and stuff to be out there showing off their wares at the haunted house. So
Thank you for bringing that up. Unfortunately, I'll be out of town, but I'm glad that J.C.'s continue to be an important part of our community and their haunted house. No need for executive session?
No, sir.
Is there a move to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
second.
Been moved by Ms. Campbell, second by Deputy Mayor Denning. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Before we do, I just want to say one more thing. The voter's guide is out.
Got it.
Okay, so you can pick them up here. I got a half a dozen or so. You can pick them up in restaurants, You can also pick them up in, the library has them, but they're with the Dayton newspaper. You're not gonna get them with the Dayton Daily News. They don't print them anymore, so the only way you can get them is to go to a restaurant or get one here or go to the library.
It's online.
And you can pick them up. So, okay, it's been moved and seconded, and everyone said aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.